Hey there, I am back with another deck review, and today we're going to be looking at the Moonphases playing cards from the Perpetual Playing Card Company. Stay tuned for the end of the video. I will be announcing the winner of the King's Wild Tigers deck in my recent giveaway. But before that, let's look at Moonphases. The inspiration behind this deck is time. There are a lot of parallels between time and playing cards. Things like, there's 52 weeks in a year, there's 52 cards in a deck, there's 4 seasons, 4 suits, 13 values in every suit, 13 phases of the moon. So a lot of different parallels in there that you can see as you go between time and playing cards. And this one specifically is inspired by horology, which is not just the study of time, but also the study of watchmaking. So really the beauty of watchmaking is what inspired this particular deck. And Moonphases specifically refers to a type of display in watches where they will show the phases of the moon. And so what you see is this sort of arc with a rotating moon that comes across to show you at any given time of the month what phase of the moon you're in. A really popular display that shows up on a lot of higher end watches. Let's see how it comes to life. So the tuck case here is just a glossy black, nothing too special, kind of a retail feel to it. Tuck case with moon phases across the front here. You've got the different phases of the moon with the new moon, or the full moon right there in the center, and then different phases across in an arc. And then in the center here, you have the interior working. So you can kind of picture a watch with the face removed, and you have some of those inner workings showing there. And then around the outside, you have a lot of the different gears and different watch pieces that are forming a border all the way around. Bottom says the Perpetual Playing Card Company. So that's the front of the tuck case. On the sides, one side, you've got Moonphases Flipbook Edition. That flipbook's going to be the fun part we're going to look at in just a second. And on the other side, the Perpetual Playing Card Company. Bottom has some ad copy for the Perpetual Playing Card Company, and then that Moonphases logo there again. And the top just says Moonphases. Back's going to be a differently colored version of the back design of the cards. We'll look more closely at that in a second. And then you have a custom seal here. It's a little bit hard to see, but you have a circular pattern here. You've got the moon kind of on that left side there, and then some inner workings of a watch on the right side. And then you got more of those phases of the moon silhouetted around the top and the bottom. Opening it up, you have a little bit more of those sun, stars, and moon kind of forming that arc on the inside. And then the interior flaps here, you have the initials of a couple of people behind the design of the deck, including Carlos Pun, who heads up Perpetual Playing Card Company. Nothing at all printed on the interior of the tuck case, so nothing to speak of there. But let's take a look at the cards themselves, and we'll start with the back design. So this is where it gets interesting. The back design is really primarily dominated by this silver metallic ink, really shiny feel to the back of the cards. Really just a ton of metallic ink on the back. Really bordering, in my opinion, on too much metallic ink. But you have a moon phase display that you might see on a watch here. So if you imagine that right there is the display you might see on a watch, that arc right there. And what it is just sort of a window where you can see a portion of the moon. So this kind of represents, an almost new moon here with just a sliver of the moon showing. And then depending on where that white circle is in the sky, it'll represent different phases of the moon. We've got that starry pattern in the background there with some stars of all different sizes, all the way down to like tiny little specks. And then the border here, you've got markings, which are kind of reminiscent of markings on the edges of a watch face. So it's a two-way back design, very cool, and has a medium poker border. But that's not all. That's not the best part of the back design. So the best part is all the different cards are going to be, all the cards are going to be a little bit different. So as I flip through this, you'll see that moon just gradually moves across the face of the card. So it actually shifts as I go through, and here it comes again. And what that means is that, I'm going to remove the extra cards here. What that means is you can get a flipbook effect if you have the cards in new deck order. And there you go. Now one more look. You can see that moon just kind of cycles across the sky. So very, very cool flipbook effect. Don't see that in very many decks of cards, but this one's really well executed. It's a rotating pattern. What that means is you can cut the deck to a different point and it's still going to work just because it's a big circular pattern all the way through. And there are a few different cards with each individual layout. What I mean by that is there's another couple of cards in the deck with this exact layout. So you can't tell by looking at the backs of cards exactly which card you're looking at. meant to keep it slightly more functional. So that's the really cool reveal for the back design of the cards, but let's see the fronts and see if that lives up to the theme. So first off, extra cards. So here are your two jokers. It is a classic jester there in the center, but he's kind of made up of watch parts, kind of giving it a little bit of a different feel to it. You can see all the different gears and pieces that are making him up. His juggling balls now are colored with the different phases of the moon. So you got the full moon there on the left, new moon on the right, and the different phases in between. It says Joker, Joker in the corners, and the bottom says Tempus est illusio, which I believe means there is an illusion. So there you go. There's your two jokers. You also get a couple of gaff cards. First, a classic double backer, and then you also get a duplicate 7 of hearts, but this 7 of hearts is a little bit different because it has a 7 of hearts reveal on the back. I think the intention is you can design some different kind of tricks where as you flip through the deck and make use of that illusion, you might see the 7 of hearts just kind of pop in on one of the cards. You can use that in a few different kind of magic tricks. So extra 7 of hearts with the 7 of hearts reveal on the back. The rest of the cards, so it is a full custom deck. So we're going to see custom designs on all of the cards, starting here with the Ace of Spades. So it says Moonphases across the top, has a custom spade pip here. It doesn't look at all like the regular spade pip. So each one of the suits is meant to look like a different part of the watch. So the spades represent the rotor of the watch, which is what a self-winding watch is. That's the piece that helps convert the motion of the watch into energy. That's the rotor there. There's Swiss made underneath, the Perpetual Playing Card Company, and then a custom font on the A there, as well as the pip in the corner being the classic spade design. So you have the classic spade design on all the numbers, and then you have those rotors represented in the middle. And kind of cool as you go through, you'll get them where the rotors are kind of slightly rotated to, to kind of mirror their movement within a watch. So there's all of your different spades. Here are your court cards. So they are very familiar and yet custom at the same time. You have very familiar faces, but their bodies are made up of kind of gears and different arcs and watch parts all the way through. The border's made up again of those tick marks, kind of like you would find in on the face of a watch. So there are your quartz done up in red and black. And then the diamonds here, so this represents the jewel or the jewel that is in the middle of kind of finer watches, and that kind of helps to keep the precision of the watch. So there's the jewel within, and then you have the two jewels representing those pips all the way through on the red cards. And then there's your court cards here. So a little bit more of a white and red feel on these, but similar coloring to the other ones. And then again, those bodies all made up of different gears and watch parts. So full custom again. Here are the clubs. So these are the chronographs of the watch. This is another kind of interesting piece here. So this represents the 3 different pedals here are the hours. I think it's the hours, minutes, and seconds. And then as you can watch as I flip through specifically at the minutes hand here, you'll see it actually represents the value of the card. What I mean here is like it's pointing to 1 o'clock there. And if I go here, it's now pointing to a 2 and then to a 3. So as I flip through, that minutes hand actually moves around the face of the watch all the way, and that includes on the court cards here, you'll see it goes 11, 12, and then 1 again for the king. So extra little touch, extra little detail is kind of fun there. So there's your club court cards. And last but not least are the hearts. So this represents the hairspring, so the gears, and this is the hairspring up here, which helps maintain the motion of the watch. And then there are your custom heart tips as well, all the way down. And last but not least, your heart court cards. So that is it. That is the cards themselves. What about handling? Well, this is on the crushed B stock from USPCC. They're going to handle and fan really beautifully. And these are cards where they really kind of had bits of cardistry in mind. Just some, different things you can do with that kind of motion and the different designs on the backs of the cards. It's a really simple design on the back that works well for cardistry, and the handling really supports that as well. So it's going to fan and cut just really, really nicely. So what would you use this deck for? Well, it is, to me, very obviously an art deck. I think just the art of the back and being able to kind of show that off as a conversation piece, I think makes this a super interesting deck. You could, I guess, use this for gameplay, but I think the fact that the backs are all different. And while I know there's kind of repeating patterns on some of the backs, I think the fact that you can pretty easily tell the difference between, this card and this card, I think means that probably wouldn't want to use this so much for gameplay. You could use this for Magic. I think that with that flipbook effect and the kind of interesting gaff cards here, probably some interesting effects that you could create with this deck that you couldn't do with other decks in particular. So really nice deck, a little bit limited, I think, on the usefulness of the deck, but one really worth having in the collection. If you are interested in other flipbook effects on decks, I haven't seen a whole lot of them, but I would check this one out, Fantastique from Dan and Dave. I actually reviewed this one on my channel before. I'll put a link if you want to check that one out. But this is another really cool flipbook deck that you can check out. So that's it for this review of the Moonphases playing cards. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you have any questions. But that's not all for this video. So as we close out Moonphases, I think now it is time to announce the winner of the King's Wild Tigers deck. So thanks to everybody who subscribed, commented, really enjoyed kind of finding out a little bit about people's favorite decks in their collection. But without any further ado, here is the winner, and it is Mike0604. So congratulations, Mike. Send me an email at TheCardGuyYT or TheCardGuyYouTube at gmail.com. I'll put that down in the description as well. Send me an email and I will get that deck out to you soon. By the way, if you're curious, Mike's favorite deck was the Tendrils deck. Interesting one I'd never heard of. So there you go. Congrats again, Mike. Thanks everybody for watching. Subscribe for more deck reviews, more unboxings, just so you know right away when there's more giveaways on the channel. And with that, I will see you for the next one.